Time to check in on High Elves versus Bretonnia, and who else better than our good friend, writer Rohan, friend of the channel, legendary artist, who is in fact working on a commission for me for a D&D related project, but more on that to come later. As for today, we're here with the High Elves versus Bretonnia, and yeah, this matchup is evidently changed quite a bit. Gotrek might just be experimenting here. Gotrek Starbreaker, confusingly playing not the dwarves. I mean, I say that, of course. He's been in the community for quite some time, but I gotta make that joke every time, guys. Come on. We've got some yeoman archers who are, as far as skirmish cavalry goes, like, definitely existing. We've got plenty of Knights of the Realm, which is solid mid-tier cavalry. Only a single Grail tier unit in the Grail Guardians. Also got some trebuchets out, one there, yeah, and another one on the far flank. So kind of going for a sort of spread artillery attack formation, where you use the artillery and mobile units to kind of pull your opponent out of position and try and corner them with your mobility here. Rider Rohan with his staunch line of spears going to try and defend. He's got some Sisters of Avalorn, Hounds of Torquelada also in the center there, looking to stack some flammable effects. Extra weakness to fire to juice up the damage of those sisters. We've also got the newly improved Phoenix Guard, finally, with immune psychology after all these years. They have long needed it. Every elite halberd needs immune psychology, to be honest, just due to their unit role and the nature of the game. But a couple Author and Seaguard to round things out. Techless, as mentioned, and the Tyrnok Chariots. Super fun pick here. And I kind of love it, to be honest. They'll just mow through Bretonian infantry, no problem, for the most part. And plenty of ammo to skirmish various units and just kind of passively deal damage, cause some problems, maybe get charged here, who knows, but I mean, obviously they're not going to be great against Bretonian cavalry. Taking chariots against Bretonnia, you know, on the surface might seem like an odd choice for sure, but we'll see how they can do, kind of skirmishing a little bit here. They are going to see a net there on that Knight of the Realm. Yeah, they stray a little bit too close and they get netted, and the archer's just going to dump in arrows, loose volleys like it's nobody's business, and one unit will pretty much be completely mown down. Yeah, Lewin's going to try and get in the back line here and disrupt this formation. Honestly, based on the build here, I would say, is there even a caster? No, there is a caster. Honestly, Flock of Doom, there's really not a lot you would want to heal here, to be honest, besides the Grail Guardians specifically, who also kind of run in here against some spears. They're going to take some damage to get a little healing and then pull away, but honestly, a build like this, Flock of Doom, and the Manticore Summon's just so expensive, but in the Terror also against High Elven leadership is probably not enough. Here, these Knights of the Realms get counteracted by Silver Helms, come up against the Phoenix Guard, and pretty immediately start taking some significant damage. Phoenix Guard, while they have relatively low weapon strength for an elite halberd, they definitely hit hard against the right targets. And despite what the balance of power may make me think, looking pretty good for the High Elves, actually. I don't know. Lewin does manage to come in here and actually start to disrupt and terrify away this line. Yeah, maybe honestly Flock of Doom and like a Manticore with a build like this might work a little bit better from Gotrek's perspective. You see Flock of Doom from the High Elf side from Techless, as the Chariot's going to ride through, try and help out in the anti-infantry fight, just clear out some of this stuff, even charging the Yeomen here, who are also running some skirmish duty. Say skirmish duty, more like, yeah, kind of hit and run, classical skirmish, right? Where you shoot a bit, go attack a bit, run away, shoot a bit more. All the fun stuff. We do have some regrouped Grail Guardians over there, or at least pulled back to a safe position, while Gotrek tries to explode all these archers, and Rider Rohan getting a little bit pulled out of position. Keep in mind, too, the trebuchets are basically pounding away, well, at least on the one side. This far side here, yeah, right over on manages to corner, trap, eliminate a lot of these units, get them off the field. So we're looking at sort of a reforming here of the lines, both players sort of re-engaging to a degree. And of course, peasant mobs not going to stand up to High Elf archers, but it will, or spearmen rather, but it will take spearmen some time to get through. I mean, obviously wouldn't hold up to archers either, but one Sister of Avalorn here, kind of stuck out in no man's land, like they're going to get smashed by some Grail Guardians. Managed to find a nice gap between those two spearmen, while Lewin's diving the back line here. Knights of the Realm managed to bypass spearmen, get on the talons of Torquelada, so these elite archers, their light armor helps a little bit. Not really too much, though. Lewin, though, taking those volleys. Looks like we're going to see a net on him. Of course, gets Kindle Flame and ceases his movements. In an ideal world, of course, the way that this actually works is he's likely to take off here, which is going to cause, like, a full-on volley to miss. Again, love the mechanics of this game sometimes. Definitely, of course, when you're playing Lewin, you're like, oh, okay, we're going to eat some fire here, but we'll mostly be fine. And then when you're playing the High Elves, you're like, yes, you just know, you're a veteran of this game. Yeah, he's going to take off there because, yep, that's just how it works. If he's not doing attack animations or anything's not hitting him on the ground, he'll just take right off. But he does land once again right on the Sisters of Avalorn. Their high melee defense helps. You can see they actually don't take like a huge amount of shock damage on the charge, even despite the charge bonus of King Lewin. It actually takes him like a few attack animations to get through them. So even if a few are able to kind of pull away there, and Elven leadership means they'll hang around until the bitter end. So gotta love fighting elves sometimes. But the Tyrannok chariots here, this one has expended all of its ammunition, 102 kills rather. 200 kills would be quite impressive, but we'll see. I mean, they're not there yet. There's plenty of peasants to try and mow through. They're also being used in kind of a blocker role. This is not, yeah, I'll keep the health bars up for this charge, because this is not ideal by any means. But we do see here a regrowth also. Yeah, those are the actual Grail Guardians. Yeah, this is a sacrifice if there ever was one. But mass the Tyrannok chariots at least. You know, there'll be a juicy target for the Guardians to want to hang around and fight, while the Spearmen close the distance. Eventually the Spearmen do get close enough. The Guardians just pull away, and the Tyrannok chariots actually survive. Just due to the nature of the way chariots work, right? This martial prowess, they'll actually keep this quite a bit of time, and 35 melee defense, 80 armor on a chariot's actually not terrible. Like, you think about the sustained melee stats, especially something like Guardians, where they have a little bit more of a defensive stat line anyway. The chariots actually took, you know, reasonably little damage, all things considered. Only 43 attack on the Guardians, which means they have a decent, like, 40%, 45% hit chance-ish. But again, Tyrannok's being used as blockers to try and bail out Teclis. Escape from Lewin's wrath, as he's got that Sword of Corone, big old AoE debuff active, debuffing armor and melee defense, was just absolutely chewing up Teclis. So again, the Tyrannok chariots being used to great effect here in a multitude of tactical roles. Really just the Swiss Army knife chariots right now. And have quickly become, I mean, they've long been one of my favorite units for the High Elves, to be honest. Just, I don't know, missile chariots, in a way, just kind of make me happy, because it's like so archaic, right? In a sense, for like a medieval game to feature like this very ancient technology in a way, but it's so cool. I don't know, for me at least, and especially the different types of chariots. Of course, you got like war wagons, which are literally pure missile chariots for the Empire. You got like the Scourge Runner chariots, which I think in the lore are actually supposed to have like tiny ballistas on the back, but unfortunately that didn't get fully realized in Warhammer. But still, you know. You got like the Tomb Kings, which is literally like the Egyptian archer chariot, right? Speaking of Tomb Kings, the background here looking excellent as Lewin flies across the field. But, yeah, the Tyrannoks, I mean, at times they've been like okay in some matchups. They've never been absolutely meta, except I think right now they're probably, and Ryder Rohan can let us know down in the comments below what's his final opinion on Tyrannoks, but I mean, I would say this is an endorsement if I've ever seen one. Taking it, you know, chariots in a cavalry matchup is, that must mean they're pretty good, right? And certainly have been able to fulfill a really nice role here, acting as blockers, kind of interceptors, skirmishers, anti-infantry, just all the things you need them to do. And they've done it in this replay so far. Ooh, they're going to need to do it again, though, as Lewin swoops in to try and grab Teclis. He's going to pop Sword of Teclis to get extra power reserve, extra spell mastery. Let's see what spells he pulls up, if any. There's about 10 seconds left. Might not get any spells off. Maybe just purely for the power reserves at this point. Yeah, it doesn't look like any spell was cast during that uptime. It drops already, but there you go. Get a little bit of extra power reserve. Balance of power is honestly not looking great right now, you know, despite that sort of early decent engagements. Yeah, the High Elves are looking pretty rough, but, ooh, there's the spell. Nice net. Grasping the Grail Guardians, grappling them, and not allowing them to escape here. They are caught. sandwiched on both sides by anti-large elves. Lewin is going to land those, prop that Sword of Corone to support. Their defensive stat line becomes much more offensive. Stand your ground also being used here to increase their own defense. So 83 melee defense, and with 43 attack, I mean, Phoenix Guard will only down only 29 defense because of that Sword of Corone. So definitely taking some damage, but our Secret Agent Tyrnox here just absolutely Rambo out to those field trebuchets, shut them down, make sure they can't come back, and that is going to be pretty impactful, actually. That was a decent amount of ammunition that could have acted as anti-infantry here, and without that, it's going to be tough for Lewin and these Guardians to grind through all of this anti-large infantry. So let's pop fast forward and see how it develops. Yeah, the Tyrnox Chariots kind of, again, acting as bait and blockers. Guardians go after this one out here on the far side, but Tyrnox Chariots, yeah, they are not perfect victors, so they're slower at this point of the battle when everything else is tired except the Grail Guardians. But Grail Guardians going to get a nice little chunk of healing there. They are approaching their healing cap. And again, they go after the Tyrnox directly, who are kind of hung out in front of the infantry. Oof, that was... Lewin went straight through that blob. If he had got caught in the middle of that blob and then took a bunch of damage, that would have potentially been bad. But let's keep things rolling here. As, again, Tyrnox used kind of as bait to help mass block a little bit if they can. And here, Lewin actually does get caught on the ground. Tyrnox Chariots are going to get terrified away as they're getting a little bit low on HP. But even just being able to hold him on momentarily on the ground is useful, but it's looking pretty grim for the High Elves, honestly, at this point. See if the grind can go in their favor. Eventually, the Damsel is going to get dispatched here. He gets routed and actually just fully killed by the Tyrnox. Yeah, and she was on horseback, too. That's amazing. Kind of missed that was what was happening. Let's have a look at this Tyrnox value. This is probably going to make my week, to be honest. Almost 800 there. This other one, yeah, 13, 11, 10,000 damage dealt. And at this point, they're literally cycle charging Lewin on the ground as he's like fighting against the spears. The Guardians are also trying to cycle charge a little bit, but the Tyrnox just mass blocking Lewin right now. He's just like, you know, stuck on pathing, just not able to escape because of the nature of the way chariot models work. He's just kind of sidestepping awkwardly here, trying to get out of the engagement, but eventually does sort of get out. But Lewin also getting up to his healing cap. The other unit of Tyrnox Chariots getting shut down by the Guardians. A little bit of Flock of Doom there. One last little cheeky spell from Teclis to try and finish the Guardians, and it looks like they're basically done for. They're down to 2 unit models, and they shatter. So at this point, it's just Lewin himself, and yeah, as long as he's got something to chew on, yeah, that unit now just gets fully eliminated. And he is forced to come to the ground and just kind of fight here. Goes after the Tyrnox Chariot, and yep, it's going to get killed to a man as well. But let's see. Gotrek dives in with Lewin for the last stand. And this is a situation where previously the Phoenix Guard might be in quite a bit of trouble because of their lack of immune to psychology. And you see here the Spearmen tear route. The Phoenix Guard do not. They hold their leadership. They're not scared, even. You know, of course, they cause fear anyway, so they wouldn't be subjected to fear before, only terror. And given how high their leadership is, they probably wouldn't tear out in this situation specifically anyway, but let's pretend. And, you know, especially as this kind of goes on here, it certainly will become even more relevant as they take more and more damage. But eventually the melee grind, well, let's see. Lewin's definitely no pushover, but looks like his leadership eventually gives out, and the Phoenix Guard able to take the win just barely there at the end. And Right Over Rohan specifically cited a previous video of mine where this had gone the other direction because Phoenix Guard lacked immune psychology, basically. Like, it literally came down to that in this specific replay. So the buffs High Elves got, you know, definitely helped them in some key situations like this. And it's definitely bumped High Elves up. Yeah, Phoenix Guard, 3,000 damage value, 9,776 damage dealt. So notice how, interestingly, the damage dealt overall is way lower than on the Chariots. I say way lower, not that much lower, but The value obviously way higher because the Phoenix Guard are literally fighting like the cream of the crop of this Bretonnian army. But then the Chariots actually able to mow through quite a bit of chaff. Just, again, the versatility I talked about throughout the replays. I don't need to rehash it too much now. But overall, you know, Lothard Sea God are the archers here. The Sisters of Avalorn doing a really nice job. The Spearmen, staunch line of spears. You would expect decent against Bretonnia, and some of them actually do get some real value. On Gotrek's side here, yeah, I mean, the Grail Guardians were superbly powerful. Nice job by at least one of the Knights of the Realm. The other ones ended up in some rough situations. Definitely that net shoot play early was ended up this one get destroyed. But Lewin, the Force of Nature, as always, is almost 400 kills. 400 kills of Elves is like... That's a lot of kills. That's like 1,200 kills of Skaven, basically, right? So, very impressive stuff. Yeah, Trebuchet is also a decent pick here. I actually really like this build overall, especially, again, sort of meta-knowledge, playing against Rider Rohan, who definitely is, well, known for bringing elite infantry at times. And just in general, the High Elves, like, it makes sense, given they have so much, like, good anti-large infantry, to just go with a lot of that in this matchup and try and just kind of overwhelm Bretonnia in that way. It has worked at times in the past, but definitely with the changes to Bretonnia, you know, they're definitely still potent, but it seems like got to get a little bit more wily now. But we'll see. I'm really hoping that we could see some very minor buffs to skirmish cavalry. The yeomen weren't really much of a factor. I mean, I guess a couple of them pay for themselves, but we could just see like an extra, you know, like 3 or 4 ammunition. That's a decent amount, but even that much would help them just get that much little bit of extra skirmish value. And overall, I think basically any skirmish cavalry that doesn't have a throwing axe or a javelin probably needs a little bit of help right now, but that's discussion for another day. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.